Coming to the Goodwill Fitness Center has actually been a fantastic kind of environment. I came almost immediately or relatively soon after I made the transition home from inpatient therapy. And after such a large injury, it can be kind of shaking and kind of take some time to re-identify, but I found Goodwill kind of fit perfectly into that segment in my life, and not only be a physical therapy area where I'm working on the physical aspect of recovery, but be a sense of community in terms of the friendliness of staff, conversational kind of interactions that I've had with people here, and just making me feel as part of a community and build more of that independence and confidence in adapting to life.
When I first started working with Hinesh, he was considered a max assist patient. Max assist meaning that he needs about 75 to 100% of the work done for him. Transferring from wheelchair to mat, scooting on the mat left to right, and especially with bed mobility, rolling is very important for pressure relief. Now that I've started to work with him, over the past 4 months, he's actually what's considered a supervision level. So he's actually able to perform everything independently, but he might need some verbal cues just to put his hands in certain spots, or just some assistance with his leg moving back or left to right. But for the most part, he has greatly improved to more independence.
Normally, Chris and I work on a couple different things. It starts off with a transfer to the mat, and I've been working pretty well on transfer from the chair to a straight mat. Now we're transferring to a little bit of an elevated, slightly cushiony foam pad, and that is to then segue into the next treatment that we do, and that's to enable more core stability and access more of the core muscles. So from there, I'm sitting there working on using my core to stabilize my balance, and while I'm doing that, kind of using my arms to throw off my balance and touch a balloon, while I'm using the core to correct any of those minor movements and enable strengthening and kind of rehabilitation of those core muscles. Another activity that we also do that we started recently was the core Stix, in which I'll be holding a stick, one in each hand, and then will get me to a standing position, and there are certain movements and things that I can trigger spasticity in a certain way to enable my legs to lock out and stand properly as though they're working typically. And then from there I can kind of move around, work on balance, work on using that core and on kind of accessing more muscles, and the further down your muscles kind of access to what you can regain. It also lets up a little bit of the upper spasticity.
My favorite experience with Hinesh has been getting control below his level of injury. Since I've been working with him for about 4 months, he's actually has control to balance on his glutes. So for us to get some contraction of that muscle has been really exciting.
I would recommend Goodwill Fitness Center. I think that it's an incredible resource, and it's perfectly posed with the opportunities and the staff and the members and the people and the environment that come at a perfect time in a difficult transition for people going through different traumatic injuries. And I think it's really important to have such a well-rounded and balanced environment like Goodwill, and that's hard to find.